Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and I'm going to be continuing to cover some of the developments on the Total War Attila front. So, yesterday I put out that video about Total War Chronicles. I know you guys weren't too enthused about that. I myself didn't find it to be that interesting or substantive. It was kind of a fringe thing that they're doing for Total War. This is actually going to be more of the meat of the stuff that I was talking about when CA is delving into making Total War Attila more long lasting. And so this is going to be it. This is going to be the mod summit report that I'm reading right here. Basically, they're going to have the Total War assembly kit for Attila, and it's going to have TED, which is what we had for Shogun 2, which is sort of the battlefield terrain editor. That's been revised, revamped, and it's pretty powerful. And then they have a bunch of other things that were added in Rome 2. The newest big one is going to be called Terry. And so you have Ted and Terry. Terry is the one that's more, they're saying, tool to tweaking the campaign map. But let's go over the details. There are some caveats to this. And I'll link you to the Mod Summit report that I'm reading from right here. So let's see, overview of the Attila assembly kit. So they talk about Ted. The main points are it's a battle map creation for land, siege, and sea battles. You can also do ports, fortified, and unwalled cities. You can do AI graph authoring, and they'll talk about this later. It's pretty cool. Basically, what that is when you build a map, and this applies specifically to sort of city defense maps with sieges. When you build your map, you can actually give different zones and tell the AI to do certain things. So, for example, let's say you build a big city and you want the AI to defend it. You can tell it which walls you want it to defend. You can tell it if it's attacking which roads to take. You can tell it to go down the specific main road, ignore everything at all costs, and just run straight through it. Or you can tell it to stop and fight anything along the way. So there are very, very interesting things that we'll be able to pull off with TED, and it's up to the people to develop these. I can already come up with a bunch of ideas that you could do for this, not only in terms of recreating things like Helm's Deep or whatnot, but maybe even making some sort of mini game type of thing. If someone builds a map and you can sort of tweak the AI's movements, maybe the AI comes down multiple roads down towards the center of your city, and it ignores all things in their path. Well, then maybe you can create some sort of tower defense map where you have different towers there and you move around archers in protected positions, and the AI is funneled down through these different corridors and you have to defend them. And there could be all kinds of development of minigames, and that's just something off the top of my head. I'm sure the modders can create some really crazy stuff. So continuing on with TED, it says you can also do outfield tile creation. So that's basically the non-playable areas of the map. You can make really nice backdrops. Campaign tile creation. So basically on the campaign, you know how it says slightly wooded terrain or whatever. You can change that. So Terry allows you to change the campaign map, but here in TED is where you would design that battlefield. So you would create a different tile, and then the campaign map, when it tries to decide, what type of battlefield is my army going to fight on, it would go and choose from your list of resources. And I think they have said you can actually edit a bunch of things, including historical battles. Let's see that. Yep. It says right here, with all maps created being open for use in every game mode, multiplayer, historical, custom, and campaign. That is really, really cool. We'll be able to edit some historical stuff, which is awesome, especially for me when I'm thinking of doing these documentaries. I can use, for example, the battle of any of the battle of Kadluanian Plains, try and make it more realistic, the starting deployments more realistic, maybe make it larger scale than the actual historical battle they have right now. You could also do the same for the Battle of Adrianople. So a lot of cool features coming out of that, and there's a lot more that the obviously modders are going to have to figure out. Next is going to be Terry. This is a campaign map editor. Rather than a creator, they say it's aesthetics mostly and not logic. So you can change up the terrain, what it looks like, what the colors are, but you're not allowed to change the logic. So things you can play with include global height map, prop placement, textures, lighting, and much more. What do you mean not logic? And I'm quoting them. As mentioned before, this facet of the design is too intertwined with the internal code base. Therefore, you cannot move settlements or borders, create new land masses or oceans, etc. So that is the downside. People were really hoping we'd have the ability to create our own continents, a Westeros, a LOTR mod, anything you might think of. We won't be able to do that, which is unfortunate, but they are saying that the modders will be able to do still a lot of work with the aesthetics and just really tailoring this stuff. It'll be pretty cool to see what people come out with. And then they have Dave, which is the database editor, Ved, which is the variant editor for UI and stuff like that. You have raw data, exporters, BOB, and launchers. So there's a ton of stuff in here. And then there's a bunch that the people who attended that summit are going to talk to you about if you want to go ahead and read that more in depth. They basically mentioned in TED some of the features that I already talked about, or how you can have that, tell the AI where to defend in a city. You can also choose where you're going to put civilians inside of your city, where are the zones they're going to hide, where there are shelter points inside of buildings. There's a lot of really cool stuff that I think machinima people are going to be super excited about. That's the first thing that came to my mind, is this is going to help me make documentaries. If you can make custom maps, custom battlefields, if you can add civilians, you can make some really, really cool machinima effects. I mean, imagine creating a huge marketplace, filling it with these civilians, making it look like a really heavily populated area, then maybe allowing really cinematic shots, creating all sorts of stuff. So I'm very excited for that. I think this is going to be awesome. All sorts of other stuff that I will not talk to you guys about. I recommend you do check out this full thread to look at the details. And this is what I was talking about when I mentioned that CA is going to be trying to add a little more depth to the game, or actually a lot more depth. So the Chronicles, obviously, that I said yesterday, is more periphery. I think this is going to be the core. This is the meat. We all know that the modding community is what gives this game longevity, and it's really, really awesome that they're going to be handing us this, and especially that the modding community is just so close to CA. With CA doing the mod awards, they say they want to continue that. It's going to be a continuing, ongoing partnership. Now, my theory about this is we've had sort of little things dropped here and there about the next game possibly being Total War Warhammer. Now think about it. If they're going to make the next Total War Warhammer, that's the first time the franchise is really going to branch out from its core historical base. So they know this. They know that there's going to be community blowback. They know that people are going to be mad because it means you won't be able to do a new Total War title like Total War Empire or Victoria or China. They know that there's going to be blowback. And so the sensible thing is to allow the community to take Attila and run with it, which is why I think they're going to be having all sorts of tools like this, very extensive support for Attila, in order to sort of get the people who don't want to do Total War Warhammer, if that's the case, if they're going down that route. These tools are going to allow you to sort of bridge the gap over Total War Warhammer and have a whole enriching experience, and they're definitely going to be investing a lot in this. Add on top of that they also have Total War Arena. I think that's why they're going to be probably going with Total War Warhammer in the future, because they've developed enough side games and support for the modding that they'll be able to have to withstand the blowback of trying something new with Warhammer. But that's my take on it. Go ahead and check out all the details for an in-depth look at this stuff. It's actually really exciting. So hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.